Bounty Hunters. Life on the blockchain.
Welcome to Bounty Hunters. We are here with rootrescue. What's up, my man?
Hey, glad to be here. I was totally surprised by your message to ask me to come here.
You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. So rootrescue, I'm going to start doing a proper intro on people. Rootrescue, this kind sir agreed to come on the podcast. Top 50 ImmuneFi bug hunter. Even though I think you have, is it 2 crits under your belt, or was it just the one big one?
Well, the other one is from audit competition. So
Okay, cool. No, still valid, man. But the point is, you got a major crit, and you don't get that just by chance. You have to dive deep. You have to do a lot of research, a lot of time into these things, and so I think you're an absolute valid guest for the podcast. And also, the scope of your bug, which was Enzyme finance. If everyone heard of this before, I'm actually familiar with kind of the bug details because it deals with gas station network, relayers, forwarders, all that kind of stuff. So if anyone's looked at that, check out his Enzyme write-up. I think ImmuneFi did, right?
Yeah,
Or did you? Yeah,
ImmuneFi did, and actually 0x Cage did another one on that one. So there's 2 public write-ups at the moment.
Yeah, so I think it's a really great topic, and I think it's something that a lot of people overlook. But yeah, real quick though, kind of your background, anything you want to share, like how I'm always curious how people get into bug hunting.
Okay, so like I said, I actually have listened to your podcast quite a bit, so I know something about your background, and I think we share some commonalities in here and there.
Like what? So, tell me.
Well, yeah, most likely we're both born in the 80s, so before the internet.
There we go.
Yeah, so all this like script kiddie hacking during middle school and whatnot, that was on the menu. And after that, I didn't really want to go to high school, so I decided that I'm going to try my stuff on the electronic part, and went to vocational school for electronics, and all the way hacked through it. Always been tinkering with the computer stuff and all that, and we didn't really have anything else to go on with that. But after the school, you know what? Joined the army.
Oh, which one? Can you disclose?
Well, let's just say that I'm in the... Oh, no, I'm in the Nordic part of Europe, so we have this thing called mandatory service, but that didn't fulfill my appetite, so I stayed over there for some years.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. So, what was your specialty?
Well, I've been a bit there and here, but I was, of course, in signals, so I'm your camo guy.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah, no surprise if you study electronics before you join, you're going to get what you get. So
never know when you need to use some Morse code as well.
Yeah, but I was lucky enough to get to join pretty cool units along the way, so that's fun also. But after the army gig, my then GF studied, and I was thinking about what am I going to do with my life. So I ended up in a college for software engineering. Did some security jobs on the side, like club bouncing and like security guarding and whatnot. And from there, I was getting my first real job, which was software engineering for enterprise software. I was Java.
So you were doing digital security, and then outside of that, you were doing physical security, bouncing at clubs?
Yeah, this was before the cybersecurity stuff.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Like get a job as a bouncer when you had some years in the army. It was like no brainer.
Yeah, most bug hunters, I wouldn't see them being a bouncer at a club.
Yeah.
When I meet these guys in person. Most don't fit the stereotype.
Yeah, me neither anymore. Back 15 years maybe, yeah, but not anymore. Yeah, but anyways, that's like the short story. After I got the first job after the college as like Java developer, I was bored to hell. I was doing some enterprise stuff that had like a lifespan of 10 years or 20 years or something, just fixing tickets and doing this all like regular coding stuff, and I was bored. And then one of my former army mates called me and, hey, I got a gig for you. Have you heard about red teaming? And I was like, fuck yeah. That's like the ultimate goal for everyone who's interested in the security side. So I got recruited by this cybersecurity company that mostly does like web application pen testing and whatnot. But
Oh, cool.
I was really privileged to get into a team that actually did all the fun stuff also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was this global work? The pen testing?
Mostly domestic, yeah.
Okay.
There were some gigs abroad, but mostly over the wires. So.
And then what was the crypto link? Why'd you say, hey, you know what? Did you just see some big bounties? You chase some cash? What was it all about?
Yeah, so we're living now like 2017 or something, and I was always like curious about stuff, how these things work, always hacking all the things, and it was right about the time for the Ethereum to kick off. So I like this idea of passive income, and then started doing the mining rig stuff on the side, and at that time I think I was introduced to the smart contracts. So I was thinking about that, hey, you can hack these things, and I didn't know anything about them pretty much. And then we have to skip a couple of years more forward, and I saw this Immunify. I was doing bounties on HackerOne mostly, and I ran across Immunify, and I was thinking, well, no way, this is going to be a scam. Like, no way you are going to give out like $1 million for some bug.
It does look like a scam when you first see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I started thinking around with the smart contracts since I already had the mining rig, and after the Ethereum mining started to die down, or you had to invest a lot of in it, I started to run my own node just because, like, for funsies.
Mm.
And then I got into the smart contracts. Like, let's check it out. Like, how does this work? This thing. And for the passive income stuff, I was looking at the OpenGNS network, the gas station network, because you can run a relay. You can earn some passive income when you run a relay. That was the thing.
And what did your financial analysis come out like when you looked at that running a relayer? Was it actually worth the time?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. What would you have made? You remember?
I think the whole relay system passed maybe 10 or 15 transactions. And you get like maybe 2 to 5% of the gas fees for single transaction.
You get nothing.
So absolutely not.
I think GSN. I mean, it's still out there, right? I mean, I pulled up the contracts because is the thing. Like, I think it was a cool idea, and obviously things pop up in the blockchain, and then they go to die in the blockchain too, and then some that are dead never die, and they just keep going on these ancient versions, and some contract over there is still using it, but I mean. So Enzyme was using that, and so you're looking at GSN to make money, and then suddenly you I guess you're browsing the blockchain, then you found this contract, and then you linked it to Immunify, or you went through Immunify first.
So basically, how it happened, I was playing around with this idea of passive income, and also at the same time, I was playing around with the bounties for smart contracts, and I was just browsing around Immunify, and I ran across the Enzyme. I checked the code base for a brief moment and just ditched it because it's actually pretty good code base. And then I started tinkering with the OpenGNS. And after I noticed that, hey, there could be oversights that the developers might do when they implement this thing, I went through all the like bounties on Immunify and checked who has implemented this thing. And I remember that, hey, Enzyme has this thing on. Let's check them if they have this like a vulnerability or the oversight on their code. And well, that happened to be true in this case.
And when you say vulnerability, you're talking about they decided not to check if it was a trusted forwarder, right?
Yeah, and that's an oversight. The documentation actually says that, hey, this whole purpose of this verifying contract is to check that the caller is privileged to do the action that they are doing on the transaction. But for some reason, it was probably easy to miss or implement, or whatever the reason is. I don't know, but yeah.
Now, what about audits though? Was this in scope for their audits?
Yeah, it was.
It was in scope, and they missed that. I would think that this would be out of scope because they black box it. Oh, we don't look at GSN. We're not going to look at any external forwarder, blah, 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 blah. But you say they did, and they missed this one.
Yeah, I hope I'm not just lying up for you. I can check it out, but I'm pretty certain that it was in scope.
Dude, that was a really good find. This is a good vector that I'd like to put out there for new guys to check out, and experienced guys too. Is like, and I mean, you say they checked it and they missed it. That's cool too. But this is something that's like, because I found a critical related to this that I still can't disclose. That it's forwarder relays, involves GSN, and like this is a tightly audited protocol, and none of this was in scope, and so it just wasn't looked at. And this is the problem with audits, and this is the problem with developer teams. They go out and get their audits, and then they have their crowd audits, whatever, but they have their scope. They got to have their scope, and we don't care about the scope. We just want to find the bug. And so we look outside. We're like, well, what's touching this contract? And you build your chain of contracts, and you're like, well, what is this thing? Well, anyone could be a forwarder. Things like this. Look at forwarders. Look at relays. Look at things like that, and see what kind of vectors you can open up.
Yeah, exactly. And to the Enzyme team and any auditor who has ever worked with the GSN, I must say that the system is so complex. So this kind
Which
of
is
oversight.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
So you cannot really blame any auditors who have probably maybe missed this thing because it's so complex, the whole system.
Yeah, no one's going to catch everything.
Yeah,
no one's
exactly.
I can't say any more about that because I'm actually working on a bug in one of these things. But yeah, it's an area to check out. That's what I will say to everyone, most definitely. And then, okay, so I want to talk about this other thing because I went to your page, and you also had something very cool, which was this proxy hijacking. Do you want to talk about that at a high level?
Oh, yeah, sure. First of all, I must apologize because it was written in haste. So it could be, as an article, it could be a way better. But I hope it highlights something that is also missing from the scene at the moment. And these systems like smart contracts, they don't live in isolation. So every time you have this like complex system that's going on chain, someone has to deploy it, and someone has to use some kind of script or another tool to deploy the actual contract. And in my opinion, I think these like deployments and any other components that run with daily operations can be used as an attack vector for hackers to take advantage of. And this proxy hijacking is one of those. So it's based on this pretty old OpenZeppelin proxy initialization bug. You probably know about this. It was the one that was used with the wormhole bug bounty. And after that, OpenZeppelin had this statement that, hey, remember to initialize your implementation contracts. But what's missing on the documentation on that part is that if you deploy a proxy contract with a separate transaction than what's going to initialize the implementation or the proxy contract, it leaves a gap from the deployment script of about 2 to 3 transactions or blocks. I mean, 2 to 3 blocks of time for the attacker to take advantage of the deployment and actually front run the initialization of the proxy. And if they do this, they can do pretty much anything on the contract because they can upgrade the proxy to any contract they want. And with this upgraded proxy implementation, they can manipulate the storage slots or introduce backdoors or do pretty much anything they want with the contract. But this, like you said, it's an issue of scoping, and absolutely no bug bounty programs or audit competition is going to have this one in scope.
No
I
one
was
looks at it.
lucky enough to find one program that accepted this as a bounty, so I did get paid for it. So that's a good thing.
That's so cool. I could tell you, I can count on one hand how many people I've talked to when they look at bugs, they look at deployment scripts. It's not many. And audit firms, I think it may be a little more common. Some shops do it, but I don't see that either. And the cool thing is, it's not just this proxy hijacking vector that you looked at. It's these things sometimes are sequential and they're not atomic. You can front run. So if you got a guy who's stalking your code, he sees your scripts and watches your deployment address, hey man, he could front run something and fuck something up. Like, you got to be careful.
Yeah. And the minimum impact is that it is going to fuck up your deployment script. So you have to deploy it again. But if you don't catch it, if you don't have the monitoring capability to actually catch this kind of attack, it's going to be pretty bad.
Yeah. And you can't leave that hanging. No way. This is a totally valid bug, man. That's a great area to look at, deployment scripts. And that's another area where not a lot of people are looking to.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that these are mostly out of scope for all the, in financial sense, like on the monetary side, they're deemed out of scope. So I don't know.
I think legit teams would pay you out though on it, in scope, out of scope, whatever, unless you're in a massive bear market. Dude, I've heard this recently in the Discord. Is that people were like, it's fucking hard, man, to get paid out in bear markets. People are just, this is the last thing I want to do is pay out big ass bounties.
Yeah. Well, let's hope we are not going into another bear market at the moment.
Oh God, who knows, man? Hey, this is a good time I got to share. Okay, so since the last episode, I can't remember. I did set up a Substack. So if you enjoy the podcast, we have no advertisements here. The Substack, if you want to join and join a paid subscription, that'd be awesome. But on the first issue, I discussed a couple live bugs. One is a possible live bug with RLP Reader, the library, and then a live bug in Reserve Protocol that hopefully you can take that and amplify it to something bigger. So that's the idea with the Substack, is like to go in depth on some bugs that I'm finding on chain and give you like live leads where you can say, hey, I'm going to look at this and I'm going to put my eyes on it. And, like we know, one guy doesn't see all the bugs. So maybe you'll see something better than I saw it. So I want to just share, join the Discord, and in there's a link for a little discount on the Substack if you're so inclined. So that would be awesome.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
I also want to ask you, man. So I saw that you did a CTF with Remedy, I think a while back.
Yeah, in February or January.
What'd you think? Like, do you think it's a good way to spend your time? Like, why'd you do it? I gotta ask.
Basically, I do one CTF a year. That's my goal. And this time I was specifically asked to join for the Remedy. And it was really good CTF. Like the actual competition, it was really solid. It has interesting challenges, and it was really solid as a CTF. So no regrets on that one. But yeah, I try to do at least one CTF a year.
Oh, why? What do you get out of it?
You get to see something that's happening on the industry. Is mostly the case. If the CTF is good, of course. If it's like not recent, or it plays around with all the like old bugs, it's not going to work for that instance. But you get to spend some time with the hacking. So what's there more to say?
Yeah, that's true. I just look at it and I'm like, man, that's a lot. But I mean, once a year, I mean, that does sound good, because it does seem enticing. It does seem pretty cool.
It doesn't like take away your whole life when you do it for 1 weekend. It's okay, and you get to like hack on things that are hackable.
Mm-hmm.
Like compared to bug bounties that you never know if you find anything or not. When you do a CTF, you always know that there is going to be some kind of resolution to this challenge. It's going to break one way or another. So it's different kind of hacking. And it really opens up your mind also that what can be done in a sense.
Yeah, as long as it's a good one, like you said.
There are pretty bad ones also, but I must say the Remedy one was actually pretty good.
Now, Remedy, is that a Hexen's thing? Remedy?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Have you tried Glider?
No, I have not, and I've been whipping myself for not joining the waitlist for that.
Yeah. I want to get other people's takes on this because I play with it every now and then, but I haven't found anything. I mean, I know it's kind of front run by the Hexen's team, which it should be. They should be doing all the work, all the bug finding on it. But you could do your own patterns, this and that, I think. And for those that don't know, Glider's kind of like this basically like a Python-esque search for the blockchain that really lets you dive down deep into a very specific instruction set for your search. So if you want to look for certain patterns in Solidity and where they occur live on the blockchain, you could do that with Glider. You just need to learn the syntax and everything. Maybe they have a GPT bot up for it, which would be pretty cool. But it's a cool tool, man. But it's not like automatic criticals. Still, nothing is. I mean, it still takes work.
Yeah,
but definitely something to look into.
Yeah, not a silver bullet, but pretty cool.
Nothing is, man.
Yeah,
nothing is. Like LLMs were the biggest. Like, oh yeah, this is the silver bullet. Fuck no.
Not yet, at least. Yeah. Yeah.
No, my God, man. Like I don't even want to talk about it. Are you using any LLMs for any like to get ideas or to refine tests or anything cool?
Yeah, actually, I run my own local Llama 3.1 mostly on the new DeepSeek.
Which DeepSeek model?
It's the 8B and a 14B, so it's the distilled ones that you can run at home.
And so I have a couple. I have a couple. It's like a Quinn or something was the last one I tried. I can't remember which model I was looking at. One of the DeepSeek ones.
Yeah, for the DeepSeek, I think the 14B is made with the Gwen, and the 8B is made with the Llama from Meta.
And what are you using it for with regard to bug hunting?
You can make absolutely banger boilerplate code for the POCs.
Yeah.
So that's like,
agreed.
It saves you so much time.
So much time. That was my most hated thing about it. You find a bug and you're like, fuck, I got to write a POC and it just took so goddamn long.
Yeah. It's way easier to modify some existing code than try to build it up from the base.
Absolutely.
It's so much easier.
Well, I started, when I found out about Tenderly, I really got kind of lazy with my POCs because before that I was doing hard hat and I would just, code up a new POC for everything I wanted to test, even just one change of a little variable, something like that. And then Tenderly came out and it made sims just so much easier just to test basic things and just to see the trace was so much better using a GUI than just fucking hard hatting it.
Yeah, I feel you. I actually wrote the Enzyme POC code in Hard Hat also. That was because of the team. They had their own test suite in Hard Hat. So
they're out there. They're still out there.
Yeah.
But now I just saw they dropped Hard Hat 3, which
I haven't looked at it. No, not yet.
Well, Foundry's so good. I mean, I don't know why I'd kind of go back, but maybe it's good to know both though, man, because I've talked to a bug hunter in person and he was like, Hard Hat, I don't even look at those code bases. He doesn't look at those bounties. So,
it's not that bad. Like I must say,
it's not.
It's not horrible. It's doable, but I must say that the tools from Paradigm, they're actually top notch.
They're amazing. The biggest gripe about Hard Hat is you get out of memory errors, even on a massive machine when you're doing some crazy test. And with Foundry, I've never gotten any problems.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, totally different. And so, are you just doing bounties, or are you doing contests as well? Because I saw you did one contest with ImmuneFi, but are you doing any bigger ones like Cantina, any of these other platforms?
I have tipped my toe in the waters, but no, not really. I have my own company now since I got the Enzyme bug bounty. So
Hell
I
yeah.
quit my job, made my own gig. So basically, what I'm doing hourly build web application pen testing for a living. That's like where my money comes from, and the bounties is just like a side gig. Whenever I don't have a customer gig going on, I do bounties and just hack things.
Dude, I'm so glad to hear that. You gave yourself economic freedom and now you're doing what you love and then doing what you love on the side.
Yeah, exactly. Hack all the things.
This is the
That's the
power of
mantra.
crypto.
Yeah, I was actually talking about with Immunify guys with this about this getting ahead of the curve with getting one payout that can change your life. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's like everyone wants to win the lottery, but the chances are so slim. But with bug hunting, it's different because you can actually put in the hours. You can crank those odds down, I believe, massively. Maybe not for a million, 2 million, these super crazy bounties, but if you can get a bounty for 6 figures, in most parts of the world, you're set for a year, 2 years even. And that gives you the freedom to do a lot of shit.
Exactly. Take the jump and do what you want, not what somebody else tells you.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, I love supporting that. And I love just like in the Discord, man, on Twitter, I get messages from people saying, they listen to the podcast or they've heard something I've said or and I'll like people's low findings, whatever. I love giving positive feedback because that's where it starts. You find a low and then that validates your behavior and you think, hey man, I could do this, just got to keep after it. And those that don't give up, I think end up being some of the big names out there.
Yeah, eventually you will get lucky if you put in the tries. That's how it goes.
You got to show up every day. Exactly.
Yeah. But I have to say that for the enzyme bug, I did pay my taxes. So
So you're back
I'm
down to
not
zero
rich.
since you're the northern European region,
Yeah,
100% tax.
yeah,
That's
200% tax, and now I'm deaf for the government. No, just joking, but yeah, they did get their share for my education.
yeah. What do you do? What do you
Yeah,
do? All right. Let's drop some motherfucking alpha. Alpha drop. I hope you're prepared. Root rescue. If you're not, I'm going to be very disappointed.
I do have something, but
Okay.
I don't know if it satisfies your technical appetite.
Would you like to go first, or would you like me to?
Well, let's do it like I go first, so people can disappoint themselves, and then you can come and save the day.
All right, Doctor Root Rescue. Go ahead.
Okay. First, I got two things here. I would like to advocate for some soft skills. I would like everyone to understand that their thinking is full of biases, and they always will be. Like you just cannot know everything, and you cannot get around of your biases even if you want to. So what I would like to advocate is to everyone get someone who you can spar the ideas with. When you get the capacity of two brains, it's always going to be better than one brain because your own brain doesn't scale up infinitely. So if you get someone to challenge you and play your devil's advocate, it's going to get you so much higher on the places that you could ever imagine. So get someone you trust with your life and your money, and if they understand the Web3 stuff, it's just a bonus. They don't even have to understand that totally. But get someone to talk to about your bugs, about your hacking, about your stuff.
That's a great tip, man. And it can't be your wife. It can't be your best buddy because most of these people will just agree with you. And
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. You have to get someone who challenges you, that
and
will break
hey,
your biases.
those are rare guys to find. I tell you, most people don't want to offend, and they don't want to disagree. In my experience, those are rare guys. I could count maybe a few guys in my life that would just call me out, and I'd have to justify like whatever I just fucking was rambling about. And those guys are great. You hate them, but you also think about it later, and you're like, oh fuck, man! Like he put me on the right path. He challenged my assumptions.
That's true. Or maybe
Yeah.
we can advocate everyone to go to the army so they can get the army buddies who
Hey, that's
tell
true.
you that you're wrong here and you're just a dipshit. So
Wait, one thing I miss about the military, and that it's hard to convey on this podcast, but I like to be able to, because I joke around all the time, and if I sling out some insults, I expect insults back.
yeah,
And
exactly.
a lot of people aren't like that. And I kind of tread lightly, but I like when I could just, drop something and the guy just shoots it back and the shit hits my face. And I'm like, okay, great. This banter is kind of how I grew up.
Yeah, and it will eventually make you stronger, way stronger.
Yeah, exactly, man. But I don't want to, it's a different crowd with bug hunting. Some guys are like that. Some guys are like, well, you got to tread lightly.
Yeah, but you can also do it like with respect, so it doesn't have to be the army type of bashing around.
Yeah,
you can also have like a respectful conversation with someone, and they can disagree with you or just challenge you if they even if they don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
So it
keep
opens
it very
up.
professional. I like that. See, we're distinguished older gentlemen here. Keep it very professional. All right, let me drop some alpha here. This is not as cool as yours because yours is very, very broad. Mine is very technical, and this is nothing crazy. This is just, I think all these tips are things that there's so many things to think about when you're looking for bugs, and I think just anything I drop here just gives you another thing to think about. It's not something basic where you're going to say, oh, yeah, this and that. Maybe sometimes it will be. But these are based on my observations, and hopefully it's always useful. So I was looking around, and I was on the Salady Soulmate stuff by Vectorized. And if you've looked through his contracts, they're very cool. He's very talented. I met the man in person. He's exactly what you think he looks like. Total base Chad. And his code is very clean, and he's an assembly master, the Yule master. But he does optimize. And the thing is and I'm not saying they're insecure, I'm saying the usage could be insecure when devs include these things. Like anything else, some devs don't know what they're doing. And so they choose one of these libraries and say, hey, we're going to save some gas. It's optimized. It's been audited. It's great. But they also remove certain protections that the same Solidity versions have of those libraries. And if you look closely, you'll see just silly things, zero checks, overflow, just different things that are optimized out. And so the integration, look at the integration, look at those projects that are using these libraries and say, hey, did they know that, when you do this with the library, it doesn't have this protection that the OZ version might have? So something cool I've noticed, I haven't found the exploit case for it with some protocol, but it's in your notes, and maybe you see some about it.
That's actually really great. Like that's really good tip to give to anyone who is getting on board. Check the integrations. You can find all kind of like crazy stuff.
I think the theme of this podcast is integrations, really.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, this is all about integrations. People don't look at it. Looking where people don't look. That is the key. So what about your method? Like, I was talking to somebody yesterday. I won't name him, but he said, hey, I'm bored looking for bugs with the bounties, my usual tactics. What do I do? And I said, dude, pull up that block explorer, close your eyes, pick a block, dive in. Do you ever do that?
Yeah, I have. And I've actually found a bug also with that kind of system.
It's a good system. It's a good fucking system.
Yeah, too bad that for that bug, it was actually for a project that rug pulled, so it never got like published or whatever. So,
do you remember the name?
It was years ago.
Okay. Classic.
I might have it somewhere in the notes, but yeah, it was this NFT project that There were a ton of those in, I think, 2021 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on the BSC, on the Binance chain.
Oh, you're not getting paid. No way.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
And the project actually did rug pull after that. So
classic. That's
yeah.
good. Yeah, if you find the bug, they just want to close you down because that's the bug they were going to rug pull with.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, but I have done that. But also for the, like, you were asking about the methods of hunting.
Mm-hmm.
So how could I phrase this? Like, most of the time when I do some bug bounty stuff, I try to identify a bug, and when I do, I try to multiply it. So scaling horizontally is the thing I do. And next thing, you are going to ask how you do it. So basically, I'm running my own archive node for Ethereum. So I have like this unrestricted access to the RPC server. And also I do have access to the actual database files for the Ethereum. And with those, and you have this sourcify.dev. Have you heard about it?
Say it again.
Sourcify.
Oh, Sourcify.
Yeah.
Maybe. Refresh my memory.
It's a collection of Ethereum contracts that has been published.
Yeah. Okay.
So they have this huge collection of contracts that has been like verified on Etherscan and whatnot. So when you have these two, so you have an access to archive nodes, so you can check contract addresses, storages, and like traces and whatnot, and you have access to the actual source codes for these systems. You can have a tool, maybe like a semgrep, and you can try to access the same bug horizontally. So you can try to find it in as many places as you can. Mm-hmm. And then you can cross-reference that with Immunify, like bounty program pages that, hey, I found this bug from this and this and this contract, and these ones of those have Immunify project associated with them. And then you can go and check that if it's a false positive or if you actually can exploit it for a bounty.
That is a very good usage for an archive node, because you can use archive nodes. So say I want to sim a transaction from 2 years ago. I have access to archive nodes with Tenderly, or you could use Alchemy or whatever. But if you're digging deep like you are, and you're going to do basically a search across all that data using semgrep, that's a very good use case. I could justify running that node at my house if I did that.
Yeah, and it's not that hard, actually, if you just have the hardware to run it on. It's actually pretty trivial.
What client are you using?
Ret from Paradigm.
Ret. Okay. And how's that been, like reliability and everything?
I've been running it from, I think, alpha 0 point something, and it's now on the release version. And it's been really good.
Your node is what, like 6 gigs? What is it? Or sorry, terabytes?
Yeah, something along the line. I haven't checked it like briefly, but yeah, something along the lines.
Okay. And how is the search working for you? Like what? I haven't played with semgrep. I'm just thinking of grep. Semgrep must be some enhanced version. I have to pull it up. But how is that? Like how? Tell me if you want to search for a pattern, right? Like say, I don't know. Give me an example. You want to search for that. How do you go about it, and how successful are you at looking at the results? Is this like it matches 1,000 positives? Can you really tune it?
Yes. So for semgrep, it's actually this short term for semantic grep. So what it does, it actually takes the syntax abstract tree from the contract, and it parses it into a process flow that you can grep. So you can instruct the same grep to, for example, I want to target every function that does not have a modifier, only owner. And after this, or inside this function, it's going to do this kind of calculations, or it doesn't have a require statement or this kind of stuff. So it's like a normal grep on steroids for looking at code. And you can try this semgrep with the Sourcify database with the plain text contract.
Mm-hmm.
And for the archive nodes, you can use tools, for example, Cryo, which is also from Paradigm, to actually fetch all the storage slots for some contract, or you can fetch all the events that has been emitted from this certain contract, or any event that has ever been emitted from the Ethereum network. So, yeah, and when you combine these, you are going to get amazing results.
This is cool. So I use Dune for my if I'm diving deep. I use Bloxy, and these are all just public free tools that I'm using. But I love this setup, man. I really need to do this. I'm on Starlink at this place, but
Yeah.
which is it's. I mean, it's actually pretty fast. I'm like 160
Yeah,
megabits per
not too bad.
second. Yeah, so I
Too bad.
mean, I should be able to run an archive node. But this is fantastic, man. I love what you're doing with this. Like this is what I need to do is step up my game and just go all local.
Yeah, that's the reason actually. I'm not really a fan of these like software as a service kind of things, because every time you are hunting for a bug or you are doing some kind of like exploit proof of concept, you are going to leak something out of your system if you
Right.
use these services. So if you want to keep it airtight, you have to run all this stuff locally.
Absolutely. No, and it's so cool too. You learn so much about it. Uh, so you kind of had a workflow there. So you'll like say you look for, let's just say like, fuck, what's a good pattern, man? I mean, there's so many, but I like how deep can you dial it in? Can you set? I only want to look for these contract names. Like do a standard string search, and then within that contract, look for X, Y, and Z. Kind of like what Glider's doing, I guess.
Yeah, it's actually pretty much what Glider is doing, and also what you can do with Dyn. It's pretty much the same, but it's like a command line tool you can run locally.
Did you say Dyn?
Dune. I don't know how to pronounce it.
What is that?
You mentioned it
Oh,
just a
Dune,
moment.
Dune. Sorry.
Dune.
Okay,
Yeah.
Dune. Yeah, Dune.
Sorry, I'm not native in English, so
Yeah, no, all good.
pronunciation can be a bit off.
No, this is some good alpha with tools, man. Because everyone's got their own suite of tools, and your suite of tools I have not heard about yet.
I don't
Doing
know. It might
cryo,
be also like
sourcify,
this
and semgrep.
dumpster fire that needs so much like caretaking to actually work. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
It's a good thing. Everyone's a hardcore technician who listens to this. I was talking to another guy who's kind of like a dev hacker dude, and I feel like a noob, you know, when I say, oh yeah, I'm on Dune, because I grew up, you know, MS DOS, you know, Linux, and I'm used to non graphical interfaces. But I've just become, I don't know, I'm on a fucking OS X right now. I feel like such a pussy. But I just get used to it, right? And I told him I was using Dune to find something. He's like, dude, I have my own scripts. I do it all local. And I felt like the biggest noob. I was like, fuck, man. He just flexed on me hardcore.
No, but the thing is that if you actually want to have some really good workflow, that's probably not going to happen when you run these all tools by yourself.
I don't care. That's it. I'm installing an obscure Linux distribution right now. I give a fuck about my Wi-Fi driver.
Yeah, but then you have to get all black hoodies and all black jeans and whatnot.
Good. That's what I want.
And you
All right.
cannot look at the sunshine anymore. That's out
No.
of bounds.
No, you got to nerd it up too much, man. You got to find your trade-off. That's pretty cool. So, all right, give some advice, because I have so many new guys hitting me up just starting. What's the advice, man? How do they be like root rescue?
Damn, man. I don't know. Put in the hours. That's like the cringest of all answers. But I think, well, let's put it this way. How could I say it? Like, if you're obsessed about hacking, and I'm not talking about just like a blockchain stuff. This is for me also. I do a lot of hacking, like outside of blockchain, obviously. But any kind of hacking, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's going to diversify your like a skill set, and you're always going to learn something. So there is no like this straight path that now you are going to be this super good elite hacker that does all the things. And even if you are only going to be for this very small subset of things that you can hack, you're going to know about. So there's no shortcuts, that's for sure. But I don't know how to say like how you become something.
I think you said it. Just go hard. That's it.
That's cringe, man. Super cringe.
Are you also staying jacked and ripped, fellow ex-army?
I must say that I hope you won't kick me out of the podcast right now. But I do a lot of cardio.
That's good. That's actually good.
And that's because I had the privilege to be with the recon guys at one point in time. And when you're running around the woods with the canine up your ass, you want to be in the better shape than the guy who's running with the canine.
I agree. How do you feel that physical fitness helps somebody find bugs?
A lot. It brings you mental clarity on many cases. It's the same thing that when you talk to someone who challenges you. I think it's the same. It gives you some kind of like mental stimulus that you cannot get anywhere else.
Which gives you better bug finding power? 2 white monsters or 100 push-ups?
Well, as older gentlemen, we really cannot drink white monsters in that quantities anymore. So
This is
I have
true.
to go with the push-ups. But it's going to give you a clear head because when you're older, you're going to get some time off to do those 100 push-ups. Anyway, so
I'm going to set the teaser for this episode. Is that stupid question? That's awesome. Fuck. Well, hey, Root Rescue. We got anything else to chat about here? You got anything you want to vent? You want to bring up? Tell us.
I would like to advocate for holistic approach for security for the teams. Overall security. Like, I think we cited this earlier with the scoping thing, that the deploy scripts, for example, are not in scope. But I really would like to see more this like holistic overall approach for security, that if you're running for example, a project that has hundreds of billions of dollars in TVL or whatnot, and then you have a bug bounty program that has only contracts in scope, that's not going to cover your like whole operations, And the North Koreans know about this. And if you're running this kind of operation and you don't trust your systems or your operations that you could allow white hats to poke them, who would trust your system? Like, why would we trust it?
Yeah, I think we spoke about this on a different episode, and on Twitter as well. This is a huge problem. There's so much reliance on cryptography. Are the smart contracts good? Great. Next level, they'll say, okay, is our Web 2 side good? Okay, great. And then these motherfuckers show up to a conference. The whole multisig is in a room. And the TVL's in the billions. It's fucking crazy. But these are the same mindsets. If you bring a bug up to them that, could do this, like, wrench attack, this and that, it's dismissed as, it's not possible, this and that. It's like, dude, everyone's got a price that they'll do almost anything for. And if that number is hit, well, you're at risk. And it's just, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. So if you compare to some of these companies that are like brand names in Web3, and you compare them to some programs that are running bounty on, let's say, HackerOne or Bugcrowd or these like traditional platforms. Now, on the traditional platform, they might have the scope like star.domain.com. So anything that's under the domain is in scope for the bug bounty program. And I bet there is not too many of those, for example, on Immunify at the moment, that would have their entire operation under scope of their bug bounty program.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like a industry scale problem at the moment. And then they're going to one day wake up with the really bad news that something has happened. And I don't know, maybe they have some like security partners, or maybe they don't have, but I really don't have the visibility on the back scene of those. But
When they post audits, they need to show physical audits. They need to show, where you can do a typical physical workspace audit. That should be done for any of these big protocols. Hands down, that should be done. That should say, hey, we visited XYZ developer at his place. We checked, is he using his work laptop for jerking off to porn? Like there's no rules for any of this shit. And this is how you see this all the time. Or a guy taking the fake interview link and then compromising everything. Anyone who has a key on a multisig, you should be physically audited. Your workstation should be separate. All these things, we don't have any transparency into that.
Yeah, it's like cyber hygiene. That's the thing.
Yeah, how are you going to invest in these protocols as an investor? You want to bring Wall Street in this, and they don't know what. It's been audited. Okay, it's great, but it's like it's upgradable, and who is this? Oh, a lot of this is just it's not that great still.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something I had in mind that could get some shout out from the popularity, or how to say it.
You could take over this whole sector, man, with your business. Hey, you want a full scope audit. You do Web3, 2, physical, red team, break into your house, everything.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That would be good, man.
Yeah. Oh, did I say that we are hiring for red teamers?
All right, you heard it here first. You want to work with rootrescue and go hardcore on some morning PT runs and red team? Contact this motherfucker. He's ready to rock. All right, cool, man. If you haven't joined the Discord, join the Discord. If you haven't signed up for the Substack, go for it. I drop some cool secrets, some good reading on there. But for now, we will see you on the blockchain.